Hey everybody, it's me, the real king of BC. And honestly, I've actually been feeling pretty good lately. My Naruto video's been doing pretty good. Right. I've actually got a lot of people that seen that video. So far it's my best video. Well, my best recent video anyway. So yeah, just keep showing me that support please. That would be nice. And please don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this. Right. And of course, some more theory videos. Maybe about video games, maybe about anime or movies or TV shows. It really just depends on how I feel that day. But anyway, this is going to be an interesting video because I want to talk about censorship. Now, censorship is a very interesting topic. And by very interesting, I mean very controversial. Now, in general, most people just aren't big fans of censorship, and I can fully understand why. Because censorship can just seem, well, unnecessary and needless at first. But I feel as though censorship actually does have an important role. And in smaller doses, censorship is good. I mean, as long as it makes sense. What do I mean by that? Well, does it make sense for this specific scene to be censored? Is there a reason for it? Right. Usually that's why censorship is a thing to begin with. To censor something that may seem offensive to most people. Specifically, a group of certain people. Sometimes it's kids, sometimes it's adults. It really does depend. Now, again, like I said, a lot of people just don't like censorship in general because they just think it's unnecessary and they think that it's just making a mountain out of molehill and making a situation a lot bigger than what it really is. And I can fully understand that. Sometimes censorship is unnecessary. However, there are times where it is actually necessary. And I think one of the best examples for why a lot of people just aren't big fans of censorship is the company 4Kids. Now, 4Kids, they don't exist in the same way anymore. They still do exist. They just don't do what they did before. What 4Kids used to do was license and dub anime. And while they still do dub anime, I'm not entirely sure if they license anime anymore. They lost that right like a couple years ago. They probably do. You can correct me in the comment section if you know anything about 4Kids and how they are now. But now they're owned by Konami, and now they're known as Konami Cross Media, if I remember correctly. They've gone through multiple name changes, but the point is that 4Kids actually was responsible for introducing an entire generation of children to a bunch of anime, like Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon. So, 4Kids is important in that regard, but the reason why they're so infamous is because they censored a lot of their shows. There were very few shows that they didn't censor. Most of the shows that they censored were anime that weren't made by them. There was one show that was made by 4Kids. Well, one of very few. I'm sure there were a couple, but I can't remember all of them. And one of them was actually the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2003 show. Now, a lot of people have nostalgia for that show, me included, because I actually grew up with that version of the Turtles. So, yeah. In fact, I would go so far as to say that they're my favorite version of the Turtles, aside from the 2012 Turtles. Okay. My point is that 4Kids, they licensed anime, and most of the shows that they licensed weren't actually theirs, and a lot of the shows that they dubbed did not legally belong to them because they didn't legally have the IPs for said shows. And Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was one of the very few shows that 4Kids themselves had actually created. But they didn't really censor Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2003 like they did all the other shows. In fact, there's barely really any censorship to actually be seen. However, for shows like Yu-Gi-Oh! Or One Piece or Pokemon, there was a lot of censorship, and most of it was very unnecessary. I understand why they did it because, believe it or not, there's actually a lot of adult themes in Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Pokemon. And for people who watch One Piece, such as myself, you know that there are definitely a lot of adult themes within One Piece. So, yeah. This is actually the reason for why One Piece isn't as popular as other anime at the time, like Naruto or maybe even Bleach. Because 4Kids basically kind of screwed it up. And a lot of people have come to an agreement that if 4Kids had either just not picked up One Piece, or if Funimation had picked up One Piece early, then it would be in a much better spot than it is now in the West. But that's a discussion for another day. My point is that 4Kids, they censored a lot of shows unnecessarily, and very few times did it actually ever make sense. Now, censorship is seen as bad because of people like 4Kids taking censorship to the extreme and just censoring basically everything for no real reason, with little sense, and a lot of times it's just really dumb how they do it because their edits are really goofy too. So yeah, 4Kids had a lot of goofy edits, but honestly, 4Kids weren't necessarily all bad. They actually did have multiple good things about them. I mean, besides introducing anime to the West in not so much a perfect fashion, but I'd say a decent slash good enough fashion. Companies like 4Kids are one of the reasons why people aren't huge fans of censorship. Another reason is how it's done in anime, or heck, even movies. See, over here in America, there's been this huge thing that's been going on with the movies, and it's been a hotly debated topic for like years and years, and still is now. And that's nudity. Now, nudity has gotten censored a lot over the years, and so has gore. However, gun violence, or heck, just violence in general, seems to get a pass over here in America. If it has anything to do with violence, be it, again, guns or otherwise, then it may actually seem as though the movie won't really get a higher rating, or that part of the movie won't really get censored unless it's incredibly gory. However, as for nudity, well, that's another topic. Now, nudity has been censored in movies for years. They've been censored in movies for as far back as, I want to say, ever since movies actually became a thing. Not entirely sure what specific year, though. You can tell me that. Probably around the 1940s and 50s, but regardless, honestly, I don't really think censorship is as bad as people say it is. And sure, a lot of unnecessary censorship does happen. It exists, sure, but at the same time, there's a reason why censorship exists. Sometimes I feel like it's necessary, but for the most part, it's not. And in smaller doses, I think censorship would be, like, received way better. And if there weren't as many people acting like that they should be offended for other people, like children or adults or teenagers, then I feel like censorship wouldn't really be as controversial of a topic as it is now. And it doesn't matter what you're watching or reading, be it a book, a TV show, or a movie, or a video game even, right? In some way, shape, or form, it will get censored for one reason or the other. Maybe in one country they're offended by certain things that happen in the game, show, or movie. It really does depend. And sometimes censorship really does just come down to whatever country it's been released in. That has been the case multiple times with certain movies. Or maybe they might just end up getting outright banned. I know Australia has been very controversial when it comes to banning things, because they tend to ban things a lot, be it movies or video games from what I've heard. Don't know too much about TV shows though, or books really, but Australia has been infamous for that, and I don't know the full story of why so many stuff seems to get banned in Australia, but from what I've heard, it's very, very interesting. And I would like to know more about that, and if someone could actually tell me more about that in a comment section, well then that would be great. But, yeah, in general, I don't think censorship is terrible. Sure, it's definitely unnecessary sometimes, but there are times where censorship actually is necessary. And heck, sometimes the censorship can actually be better than what was originally there. Sometimes. In very specific situations, of course. Now, I'm in the middle on censorship. I don't really think it's great, but I don't think it's absolutely terrible either. And I really do think that censorship gets way too much hate. I just don't think it's as bad as people say it is. And when it comes to, like, minor, smaller censorship, not really many people seem to care. A decent amount of people still make a big deal about it, but those people are in the minority. For the most part, smaller, like, censorship, doesn't really seem to bother anybody. Right, well, that's because it doesn't really matter much, because it's not like they're changing a whole show or changing how the characters act, which sometimes censorship actually can do. Sometimes they can change the whole show, change the plot of the show, change the structure of it, change how the characters act, and so on and so forth, just change their personalities. Sometimes censorship actually can just straight up do that. But censorship is definitely better in smaller doses, and like I said, when it actually makes sense to censor said thing. So yeah. But that's all I have to say about censorship. In general, censorship is just a controversial topic, and I would love to know what you guys think of censorship. Do you like it? Do you not like it? Are you neutral about it like I am? What's the deal? This has been the Real King of BC, and all of my social media stuff is in the description. And of course, please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and keep showing support. King out.